Now available in paperback. Those who refuse the gift of eternal life are condemned to wander in the darkness of eternal night. Get your copy of Eternal Night at online booksellers today. An Asian man was arrested for kidnapping and attempting to sexually assault a woman who he thought was white in response to the series of anti Asian crimes that have been reported all across this country. Now, according to reports, 37-year-old Michael Sangbong Ri decided to kidnap this woman who he thought was white and attempted to sexually assault her before she wound up fighting him off. And according to these reports, he wound up getting arrested, and now I believe he's locked up. So when I take a critical examination of your Michael Sangbong Ri's deeply disturbing behavior, it fits right in line with the pattern and profile I talk about regarding beta males in my book, The Man Crisis. And your Michael Sangbong Ri's behavior fits the chapter I talked about regarding the sexual deviancy of the beta male. And this sexually deviant beta Asian male wanted to use the anti Asian violence as a justification for participating in his sexual deviancy. Now, what's interesting about your Michael Sangbong Ri and his motive for his crime is that he went out here looking for a white woman to perpetrate his sexually deviant crimes, and he wasn't looking for a black woman. Now, according to reports like those that Juju Chang gave on Nightline and presented in many mainstream media outlets, many of the alleged perpetrators of crimes as related to this anti-Asian violence are supposed to be black people. However, when we look at many of the videos presenting these alleged anti-Asian acts of violence, most of the people who are perpetrating these crimes are usually white. So when we look at Michael Sangbong Ri's motive for participating in his sexual deviancy, it fits within the pattern that is presented in many of the videos that we see on the news, and it fits in many of the pictures we see as related to the perpetrators of this violence. And when we look at Michael Sangbong Ri's, again, motive for participating in his deviant sexual behavior, it fits right in line with what is presented as related to facts. But the mainstream media, they want to say that the main perpetrators of this anti-Asian violence are black, but when we look at much of the footage, it's showing us white people. And when I look at your Michael Sangbong Ri's alleged behavior, it just shows again how deeply depraved he is as an individual. Now, he's out here thinking that this is going to be a response to all of these anti Asian crimes, and it just again shows how sick and twisted he is as an individual, and it just shows how deeply disturbed he is to think that by perpetrating harm on a person of another race, he's going to be able to get a positive response to this trend of anti-Asian violence. How does perpetrating violence stop violence? That's a critical question that somebody needs to ask this beta male, because when you go out here and do harm to somebody else, that doesn't make things better for both communities. In fact, all it does is escalate more tensions. But many of these beta males, they are not really thinking critically about anything. they are out here acting on impulsively on their feelings. And your Michael Sangbong Rhee was not acting, again, thinking critically. He was just looking for a reason and a justification for participating in his sexual deviancy, and he wanted to have a justification to perpetrate this sexually deviant act on his victim, and he probably would have continued to get on doing more harm to people had this woman not fought back and not went out here and reported the crime against her. Because this guy, again, he was from what is alleged in reports, was a very sick and twisted individual, and he was just, again, twisted and depraved to go out here and look to do harm to women. And that just, again, shows us that while the media, again, is talking about, oh, anti-Asian violence, they don't really want to talk about this Asian sexual predator and his threat and his danger. In fact, the media has downplayed this guy as related to his Asian violence, but they want to continue pushing the narrative that black people are the ones out here doing harm without thinking objectively and saying we need to report the news as related to anyone who does harm, because people who are out here and are participating in these acts of violence like this, they need to be taken off the street and they need to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. Because this individual, again, he was a clear and present danger to everyone, but because people are so caught up in trying to make black people, especially heterosexual black men, the picture of violence and trying to make us the face of a narrative we were never a part of, they're not really seeing the dangers of people like this, because this guy is again a clear and present danger who walked around, and he was looking for, again, not a black woman but a white woman to go out here and do harm to in response to what he thought were these anti-Asian crimes. And he was, again, out here looking to commit crimes against white women. And that's what makes him even more, just as twisted as those people we see in the mainstream media who push these narratives as related to race. But they don't really want to look at the real faces of these perpetrators and be able to present the truth to people. Because when I look at, again, your black people, I don't see mostly black people out here participating in these kinds of acts. No, it's mostly whites I see in these pictures, and that's sadly what your Michael Sangbong Rhee pretty much saw, because that's who he was looking to target. But it just, again, shows how twisted these beta males are and how this man crisis is getting worse, because these are the kinds of behaviors that your beta males participate in when they're out here. This is the type of deviant behavior they participate in that makes them a threat. And we in America really need to do something about this man crisis, because we've got a lot of ticking time bombs out here. And it's not a matter, again, of if they're going to go off, but when they go off, and a matter of what type of violent behavior they're going to participate in and what harm they're going to inflict on individuals. And this one, thank God, was caught before he could go out here and participate in a series of violent attacks against women, just like Daniel Holtzclaw did. But when I look again at these reports, they want to make black people the face of this whole anti-Asian campaign. But the whole thing is, they don't want to talk about guys like this who are targeting white women and targeting white people, showing us that he's looking at the reports and he's seeing a completely different face than people like Juju Chang are reporting are the perpetrators of these crimes. Now, if you want to learn more about what makes beta males like this go out here to participate in the dysfunctional and violent behaviors they participate in, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, the Beauty Myth. Learn the beauty secrets of the goddess next door in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, the Beauty Myth at online booksellers everywhere today.